What's up, BB Besties? I have a live feed update today.
Hey, BB friends, here's a quick update.
Welcome to the Girl Gab podcast. Join your hosts, Allie and Nikki, as they break down the latest in pop culture, TV, and whatever else they feel like gabbing about. Girl Gab starts now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Girl Gab podcast. I'm Allie and
I'm Nikki.
And we're your co-hosts. So, Nikki, I know you had some predictions about the Super Bowl. I am not a football person, so you're going to have to let me know your thoughts about the actual game itself.
Yeah, game didn't go great for those of us that are Chiefs fans, obviously. I will say, for me personally, I'm not mad that the Chiefs lost. We have had a really good run over the last 5 to 6 years. We've won a lot of Super Bowls over the last several years. So it was definitely someone else's turn. I was really hopeful that we would at least get the 3 in a row so that we could make even more history than we already have. But there's a reason that's never been done, and it's because it's really hard to do. You know, whatever. At least we were the first team to make it 3 times in a row. So I'll just take that.
Crazy. So they've won 3. The Chiefs have won 3 Super Bowls in a row. Or no?
They've made it to 3 in a row, but we didn't win, so we didn't win 3 of them. But out of the last 6 seasons, we've won 4 out of the 6, but we've made it to several of them or whatever. I don't freaking know the statistics of it all, but this team that we currently have is really freaking good, basically.
Yeah.
But it was someone else's turn to win. That's why sports are cool. That's why everyone enjoys them. There's always an underdog, and when the underdog wins, it's a good story. So
yeah,
I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I am aware of the whole Kansas City thing of them going and winning because of the whole Travis Kelce thing, with his mom, and then what was it last year with his brother on an opposing team, or the year before last year? I think it was last year.
It was the year before last, which was the Eagles who just beat us, but we beat them the first time.
Right.
So it's kind of like a revenge story.
Okay, that's cool. I'm down for that lore.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you ask me about the Super Bowl, I only tune in specifically for the halftime show. So, and that is not just this year, that is any year, but apparently I'm not the only one. And apparently this was the most watched halftime show of ever.
Yep.
Kendrick Lamar beat Michael Jackson, which is crazy.
Yep, it was good. It was a really good halftime show. If you didn't enjoy it, sorry to you. Go complain to a wall because nobody cares.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I couldn't say that better myself. I watched it, and then I immediately, I was live on TikTok. I think you popped into my live a little, and then I immediately was like, I have to watch this again, and I just rewound, and I just went right. I went right back, watched it again, because immediately there were some things that I caught on, because there's a lot of symbolism, but there were some things I caught on to immediately. For example, as soon as I saw Samuel L. Jackson, I went, Samuel L. Jackson, what are you doing here? And then I immediately thought, okay, Django, I saw what he was doing with that. And then when I saw some of the things Samuel L. was saying, I was like, all right, cool. I got that part. But there were some things I didn't get until I watched for the third time, or I saw different people blogging or tweeting or blue skying or
breaking it all down.
Whatever. Yeah, one of those things was the whole game over thing. I didn't notice that I had a hard time reading the lights in the stadium at the end.
Same.
So I didn't know that that's what it said. And once I saw a clip or something of where it was more clear, I could see that it said game over. I was like, oh, okay, because I remember that Samuel L. was talking about it being a game and you have to learn how to play the game. So different like that. So I don't know. I was down for it. I loved it.
I thought the symbolism was really, really cool because it was a mix of historical, political, and the Drake beef. There was all of that mixed in, which was just perfect.
Yes, I agree with you. Specifically, I'm so embarrassed to say that I guess because it was so quick, I didn't realize that was Serena. And then I saw somebody say Serena Williams being there, and I went, wait a second. And then when I was rewatching, I went, oh my God, second, like I noticed someone crip walking, but I guess it
Mhm.
happened so quickly I didn't realize that it was Serena Williams.
Yeah, I think it was the quickness as well because they didn't leave the camera on her for like a real long time.
Like an
And I
8
remember
count.
when,
It was like an 8
yeah,
count.
literally. And I remember whenever I was watching it, I was like, that girl looks really familiar. And they're zoomed like in on just her. Like they hadn't really done that with the dancers. And I was like, that's someone. And for some reason, like just because of how quick it was, like her name didn't pop in my mind yet. And then whenever you texted me it, I was like, that's who that freaking was. That's who that
Yeah.
dancer was. But yeah, so I was the
Yeah.
same way. It was too
Yeah.
quick.
I was very excited once I realized that was her, because if you're aware of that whole lore, I mean, just the
Mhm.
fact that she was there, not only is that a thing, like that's why I brought that up, because to your point about the Drake beef and then also cultural stuff, symbolism, that's both. Because right, like she previously was in a potential relationship with Drake that is highly rumored, but then also she had a whole situation at a tennis match where she crip walked and literally almost lost the whole match because of it. Like they were very angry that I'm not a huge tennis fan, so I don't know if it's like a red card or whatever carded she got because of crip walking. And it was like not even that long, less than that 8 count we saw. I mean, it was a few seconds.
Yep.
So, and that just goes to, we don't like to see people of color doing certain sports, golf, tennis. Like there are certain sports, country club type of sports.
Yeah,
We're not
country
used to
club,
see people crip
exactly.
walk. Yeah, we don't.
Yep.
We're not used to we're not used to seeing people crip walk in those. So yeah. So that's pretty much all I have for our pop culture, because that's all that I feel like is in the media right now. Honestly, like what else are we talking about?
The only other thing I would add to that is that I did see an article where the flared jeans that Kendrick wore are already sold out, which is cracking me up.
I did see that. But you know what else? I'm glad you brought that up. Something I noticed immediately, I don't know if you were like followed the whole beef from start to finish or anything like that, but like something I noticed when he did the LA pop-up show, he was wearing essentially the same, like a very similar outfit to what he was wearing in the Super Bowl. And immediately that was something I quickly noticed, like, oh, I was concerned that he was recreating the LA pop-up show, because if you watch that, he sang Not Like Us at least 13, 14 times, like repeatedly.
Gotcha.
He sang the same song over and over and over and over. And he would bring up a new celebrity. They would get on the stage with him and he would sing the song again. And then Dr. Dre, so it started with Dr. Dre coming out and he was like, hey, Kendrick or whatever. And I don't remember what he said, but he comes out and he says something. And then, but yeah, so I was concerned because I was like, oh shit, and then whenever he was singing Not Like Us in the circle, that was very reminiscent of the LA pop-up show too. So I'm sure that was symbolism, and he didn't end up obviously singing it more than once. He didn't have time to, but I got concerned because I was like, oh shit. Like, but when he said, say Drake,
stood still for me. I was just like, yes, look directly in the camera and say it. Fuck you, Drake. Just say it.
ate my words though on the last pod, because I don't know. I thought that they would make him leave out Drake's name. But here's what he did though. Say Drake.
Yeah, the cheesy ass smile was chef's kiss. But I agreed with you last week on the podcast because of the NFL, not necessarily because of Kendrick. I just thought the NFL would know.
Yes. I was concerned that the NFL would potentially make him not do it, but that he would still do it anyways. But based on what I'm seeing post the event, the NFL is in full support. So
yeah, they're reposting and everything. They're standing by it.
Duolingo's in on this. Dua Lipa is in on this. A&W, Peppa Pig, Lyft. Let's talk about this. We're going to talk about this in a minute. We're going to talk about the Traitors, but let's just throw out there that Lyft put a TikTok video about the Traitors up. And I was like, have you seen that yet?
I did not see that.
It's a person standing there like calling their Lyft ride or whatever. And it's like Boston Rob trying to get his ride back to Boston.
You sent it to me on TikTok, but I haven't watched it yet. Yeah, I'll have to go watch it.
Anyways, but yeah, so I'm down for all of the petty marketing tactics. I love it. I'm here for it. But yeah, so The only other thing cool that we really have to look forward to is we're going to have the drop of the Drake album. So it's Friday right now, Friday night. Drake is dropping an album tonight, an EP. I don't know if it's going to be like a timestamp series or what it's going to be. Or I don't think he's going to mention the Kendrick thing. I think he's just kind of like hoping to push past that. But he is dropping an album tonight. That's pretty cool. So Love is Blind dropped tonight, but I don't think either of us have had a chance to watch that yet. Maybe next week, if there's anything cool, maybe we'll talk about it. But for now, I think what we're going to talk about, what we're going to really be excited about is the Amazing Race cast drop. So we did not get a chance to talk about it on last week's episode, but season 37 of Amazing Race did release the cast drop. There's also some rumors about season 38 of Amazing Race, and we are going to get to that in a second. But let's talk about the cast. What did you think of the cast when you initially just kind of like scrolled through? I will preface this by saying I have not watched like the interviews, if there's any out there. I have not watched that. I've only looked at like bios, pictures. That's all I know.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just looks like a regular Amazing Race cast. No one really stood out to me. I think Amazing Race they don't do the cast announcements like Survivor and Big Brother do. Like, I haven't seen interviews. I tried to look again today. I don't see any preseason interviews. The bios are very minimal information, like very straight to the point, to where like with Big Brother and Survivor, it's like, who's your favorite past player? Like, what kind of strategy, yada, yada. And I mean, Amazing Race isn't fully a strategical game. A lot of it is just, can you travel and complete a competition kind of thing, or complete a challenge? So I don't know.
Yes, however, I would
push
push back on that because there's a new twist this season. Did you see that?
What's the new twist?
So the way I understand it is it's called Fork in the Road. And it's going to be like there's two different paths to get to the same ending. And that would potentially, it's going to make you have a fork in the road where you have to choose, right? Are you going to take this path or this path? And there's going to be teams going this way to get to the end and teams going this way. Now, we've seen that with other types of twists where it's like, what do they call it? Like roadblocks, the roadblocks.
Yes.
But this is supposedly different. So that's going to be interesting. I will say that like I'm a person that kind of fell off on Amazing Race for a little while. But after like 2 seasons ago, I started watching like faithfully again. We're getting a bigger cast than we used to get, which sucks because now we don't get non-elimination legs. And I think non-elimination legs are critical.
Yeah.
I would like to see a non-elimination leg come back because I don't think it's going to because we have like 14 teams. I just don't know how we would do that. But because with having that out there, it's such a great moment when people get to the end and then they tell Phil, like, we're so upset, like we're going home, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, guess what? It's a non-elimination leg. You know what I mean? Because they don't know until the end. So...
Oh, yeah, even Phil acts like they're getting ready to go home, and then it's just like a boom shift in his personality. And like, oh, well, actually, he's not an elimination leg. You get to stick around for one more time. Good luck to you next time. Be a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I don't really have anything specific to say about any of the teams specifically, other than there's a team where it's like a father and a son, and it's like Jeff and Jeff. It's these guys. Hold on.
Yes.
And I was just like, the way that they listed their names, it was Jeff Pops and Jeff Bailey, but they're both named Jeff Bailey. And this just furthers the reason why, like, I do not believe that you should name someone the same thing as someone else that lives in your home. I don't believe in juniors.
Yeah, well, that guy apparently doesn't even have a junior attached to his name because they didn't even list his name as Junior.
Even worse, like I know people in my life that like they have the same first name as their dad, but then they have a different middle name and they like go by their middle. I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I also believe that like whatever you're gonna call my name is Allie. It is not Allison. It is just Allie. If you're gonna name somebody Allie, if you're gonna call somebody Allie, name them Allie. You know what I mean? Like, whatever you're gonna call me. I know a girl. Her name's Abby. Her name is not Abigail. It's just Abby. If you're gonna,
yes.
If you're gonna
That's my
call me
best
Abby,
friend.
name me Abby. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's the only thing I really have to say about the cast. Did you have any specifics that you remember from any of the teams?
No, like I said, I really feel like Amazing Race is a show that I don't form opinions on until I can actually like watch a couple of episodes, because there's
Yeah.
no preseason stuff that lets their personality shine through even in the slightest.
Yeah. So Amazing Race season 37 is airing on March the 5th. I'm super excited. We intend to pretty much cover, I don't know how in depth we're going to cover it, but the highlights we're definitely going to talk about on the pod. But something that Nicolette and I both are like super excited about, season 38
Yeah.
of The Amazing Race, because season 38 is rumored to be a Big Brother season. And we've had these before, but in the past, we usually see a mixture of like Rachel and Brennan, or like
Showmances or siblings or whatever.
or like two Big Brother players playing together that were like, whatever. But this year specifically, the rumor is it's a Big Brother players and a loved one from the outside.
What's also different, though, is in the past, whenever we've had Big Brother players on, it's been, one Big Brother couple or a few mixed in with a cast of other people. But this is a full cast of Big Brother people playing
Right.
Amazing Race.
Right.
Which I have to say, I've been
At
on
least
some
that's
Reddit
the rumor.
threads.
That's the rumor.
No, it's confirmed.
Is it
No, it's
confirmed?
Mhm.
Who confirmed it? CBS
Sharon
confirmed
Tharp.
it?
Sharon Tharp.
We believe Sharon Tharp.
Yeah, and casting is finalized. They start filming in the beginning of March.
Yeah, so what I've heard is that like last week and this week, and maybe even the next week after that, pay attention to people's social medias and where they're at and what they're doing, because that could potentially indicate if they're on the show or not, because the final casting is currently taking place. And then the filming, I think, starts in March, because Amazing Race is one of those shows that films a year in advance.
Maybe we need to just have a weekly segment now of like Big Brother social media watch and be like, okay, these people.
Totally. That'd be cool. So there are a few rumors that we know that we can go ahead and talk about that they've been totally debunked. And a lot of people speculate like who's going to be on the show, because we don't have official cast yet. We know for a fact Janelle is not a part of the show, because
Correct.
she has said on Twitter, some kind of social media, I forget which one, that she's not a part of the show. She claims that they called her, but that reality TV is becoming an expensive hobby at this point, which I love that statement, because like valid. I mean, she's a whole realtor. Like she's missing out on closings. Like she's missing Amazing Race films for a month. That's a very long time. Whereas like when she went on the Traitors, 2 weeks, whatever, go ahead.
Well, in that same like tweet or whatever it was, that was where I saw Xavier respond to it. And basically what they're saying is like the NBC shows like Traitors, whatever show it was that X was recently on that I didn't watch, all of those pay way more than what CBS is willing to put out. So essentially they weren't offered enough is what they were saying on that thread. So
I believe that, because if you watch some of the podcasts that Derek has done, I forget which one he said this on, but one of the podcasts Derek did, he said that he was willing to come on and do another reality show because of the entertainment company that manages the Traitors. And he said like moving forward, if he were to do another reality show, he would be open to it, but there are going to be factors. Do I get calls to my loved ones while I'm away? Do I get payment while I'm gone? And specifically, that comment made me think like, okay, he probably got payment during the weeks that he was gone, which is not usual, right? Like usually you're getting a stipend, but you do not get that stipend until after you return. Why? Because they want to make sure it's like hush money, basically. They want to make sure you're not telling anyone.
Well, it's also, if we're like relating it to Big Brother, like in even Survivor as well, honestly. Well, even Amazing Race, like you have your stipend, but you also have many opportunities to earn extra money throughout the duration of the time.
Yeah.
So instead of them just giving out the stipend, they just wait until the end and give you your full big lump sum. Also, for most of at least the CBS reality shows, I don't know about the NBC ones, but like I know at least specifically for Big Brother, you have your weekly stipend, but if you make top 2, you no longer get that stipend. You just get your winning money. You don't get the stipend plus the winning money. So they can't be paying you out. And then, you know what I mean? Like just the way that they do things doesn't allow for them to pay during the duration.
Yeah, I forget who said it, but I saw on one of the podcast interviews as well that Boston Rob was probably, they were like, yeah, he probably got like the same amount as the 250 winning prize to
Right.
just be on the show. So to him, I think I said this either on the pod or on one of my TikToks. I was like, it was giving like, I have 5 minutes to leave. Like the decisions that Boston Rob was making on the Traitors were just not good decisions. And Boston Rob literally was giving, I have to go somewhere. But on his podcast interviews, now that I've watched more of him, literally on one of them said, Rob apparently doesn't watch TV. Like, I guess he has no way of knowing anyone. I think even you like told me that. Well, he kind of mentioned how when he started wanting to apply, or when someone reached out to him or whatever for the Traitors, he went and watched season 1 and 2. After watching 1 and 2, he decided that it was a good idea to just, he was like, how great of an idea would it be to just get out everyone that goes after me?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I really don't think he can. Even in, like, whenever I made a YouTube video about reactions to, like, the first 3 episodes or whatever, I remember whenever I was filming that and watching the offer from Alan for Rob to be brought in the game, and they declined the offer or whatever, I was like, oh, well, like, Rob probably isn't even going to care because he was paid to be there. Like, he was paid a large amount of money to be there, whether he played or not. You know, like, he's, at the end of the day, he's still getting a check. And that's how he played the whole game. Like, that was just me thinking that about him, but, like, that's how he played the game. He didn't care how long he lasted. He was getting a check either way.
But that's enough about the Traitors, because we're going to talk about the Traitors here in a little bit. But first, we really do need to talk about Amazing Race Season 38. So I have a few people that I just am pretty damn sure they're at least getting a phone call. I would have already did put on my list before knowing about the Janelle thing and Xavier thing. Those 2 people I knew would be getting a call. Those are huge Big Brother players.
Also, in that same conversation, and Danielle later confirmed that Danielle was also contacted and turned it down for the same reasons as X and Janelle, which I find odd, because I thought she would have to turn it down because of the contractual obligations with the Traitors.
Yes, so that actually might change my list a little bit then, especially
because they still have not filmed the reunion yet, and this starts filming the beginning of March, which is going to be around the same time that they film the reunion.
Then you know what? I don't believe. I think Danielle, because we know that she's very unwilling to. She is very cautious about her contracts. I think that probably is that is the reason, and she just wasn't wanting to say that because she is very cautious about revealing any information about her contract. I do believe that she is under an exclusivity contract.
Yeah, I would.
There's just no way, right?
Like, yeah, I would think anyone that's currently on the Traitors from Big Brother would not be able to accept the Amazing Race contractually.
No way.
I just don't see how they could.
They can't, because not only do you have to finish filming the tell-all, but you also have to finish filming any postseason stuff, like if they have to go on the Today Show or like whatever. Right. If they haven't even officially filmed the New York tell-all, there's no reason that Danielle would even remotely be able to accept something and be literally going on casting stuff. So anyways, so season 38 of Amazing Race, we have, like I said, we know for a fact Janelle and Xavier are just not going to be a part of it. They've let us know. Potentially anyone that's involved in any current reality shows I've left off my list. Like, for example, Josh Martinez, I would love to see him on Amazing Race with like a family member, but I'm leaving him off of the list because he's so faithful to the challenge, and the challenge contracts are apparently very long. Danielle and Brittany, leaving them off because they're currently on the Traitors and they haven't filmed their tell-all yet, to our knowledge. So I'm going off of people who I know have not really realistically been on anything anytime soon and realistically won't be in the near future. So people on my list, there's people that I would 100% love to see, and people that I 100% know that are getting a call. we can just go ahead and get this off of our chest right now. Taylor Hale is getting a phone call.
Yeah, unfortunately, she'll be on there. I did look on the Reddit threads today, and she's heavily rumored over there as well, which is no shocker, but she doesn't have any siblings or anything like that. She's not, I mean, her and Joseph are like on again, off again constantly, but like currently off. So it would have to be like a parent or a best friend.
So that brings up a good question. I have been wondering and debating it to myself. What I have seen is that it's supposed to be a Big Brother contestant and a loved one. It is not supposed to be like
a showmance.
Corey in America. It's not supposed to be like that.
Right.
So I have wondered about, like, I just don't know that they want two people or they want somebody else that's been on a reality show, but I don't know. Nonetheless, Taylor, I know neither of us are like huge fans of Taylor, and we can do a total deep dive on that later, but we're not. Did she make history? 100%. Did she deserve to win? 100%. And we will never not. I want to be very clear before anyone
Not
comes for
discrediting.
us. No, she made history for multiple categories. First Black woman to win, first player to win, America's Favorite Player, and winner of overall in the same season. Like, there's so many things that she won. Like, we're not discrediting that. She deserved to win. However, her gameplay specifically is the reason that Nikki and I both are like, the fandom level doesn't make sense. But we can get into that on another episode. So people that I think realistically could get a call, and also I would like to see get a call, I have Michael Bruner and his new husband. I think realistically he could get a call, and realistically I would really like to see him. I am not a fan of a comp beast, so I was very happy to see him go on Big Brother, only for the aspect of I'm an underdog supporter. Now looking back realistically at 24, I'm kind of like, who else would I have wanted to win now? Like, But anyways,
yeah, Michael is one of my favorites,
and I think Taylor, obviously,
too.
Huh?
I think he's someone that would want to do the Amazing Race.
I believe so. So that was kind of what I looked at. It was like, who's recently in like a good relationship that like their partner would go. So Michael Bruner and his new husband, I put on there. Zach Rance and his new wife, realistically, I would like to see them, and I think that he could get a phone call. Whether or not he's going to do it, I don't know. What do you think? I think like maybe no, because I know in the past he has kind of been like against it. However, recently he actually went on an interview, like a podcast interview, and he talked about Big Brother a little bit. So now I'm leaning a little bit more towards potentially he's considering something like that.
He's not one to go out and talk about being on reality TV very often. So the fact that he is now bringing it back up did kind of make me think, there's a reason you're going out and talking about reality TV right now, because he's completely transitioned away from that kind of lifestyle and whatnot. So it did make, whenever I heard the interview, I did, and knowing this rumor of the season 38, I was like, I wonder if you're getting ready to make a comeback on to a different kind of show. And I do also think that just his, I don't even really know what kind of influencer to necessarily call him, but
like lifestyle.
Really kinda, yeah, but like with a heavy focus on like living life to the fullest and like not saying no and like and all fitness. Those different kinds of things. Yeah, in fitness. Yeah. And so it's like this show in particular kind of fits like his brand that he currently has, if that makes sense as well.
Yeah. And the fact that he's in a new relationship, like this type of show loves a husband and a wife, whether they're husband and wife that are longtime husband and wife and like now have the kids and they're like, you know, dealing with 10-year plus it being hard now or brand new. They love that on this type of shows. I also think it's very probable that we get some kind of call from Corey Wartenberger and either his brother Zach or his mom. I don't know that Zach will be able to do it because we don't have confirmed whether or not other reality shows they're going to be willing to bring those in. They may exclude Zach with it being Corey can do this, but he can't do it with Zach or America. In which case, I think it'll be his mom because she was willing to go on RHAP Traitors.
Yeah, and Corey was just in LA.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, I think Corey like you said, either his brother or his mom, either one. But I think that it is a very good chance that Corey Wurtenberger is on this cast.
Yeah. So speaking of other people, I think is a good chance. Cody and his wife. Cody Calafiore, but you told me that he has been official about not wanting to do game shows anymore. I guess he's too embarrassed about what happened to him on The Traitors, and he never wants to go on a game show again. This is different, though. This is not, I would consider this a competition, but not a game show, if that makes sense.
Also,
I'm sure it's all the same, but to me, it's different.
I think Amazing Race is very different, and it's also like you add in the aspect of getting to travel around the world for as long as you're in the competition as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I can see it. Am I personally hoping that it's a no? I'm hoping he either is not contacted or turns the offer down. Either one would be much appreciated over here. But I think that it's a possibility, yeah.
I could just speak for you right now, I think. It's because people like Cody and Taylor, we've seen enough, right? Like, give somebody else another shot. Like somebody, for example, I have on my list that might be a surprise to you, Hayden Moss. Throw Hayden Moss in there with like, I don't know if he's with, obviously like, okay, so Hayden Moss, if they threw him in here, he would get the trifecta because he's been on Survivor and he's been on Big Brother. Well, first Big Brother, then Survivor. Now, the girlfriend that he was on Survivor with on Blood versus Water, they are no longer together. So it'd have to be somebody else. But like Hayden was a family member of mine almost named their baby either Lane or Hayden during that.
God.
Yes, truly. Wild. They were pregnant with a child during those. Yes, like Lane and Hayden were like top tier names because of Big Brother. Like Hayden was a wildly popular Big Brother player. So that's why I say like bring somebody in that like you're gonna go shoot. Like I'll tune in because of that. You know.
You want to know a name that's being heavily speculated and was started somewhat by a subliminal message from Sharon Tharp?
Hope it's on my list. Please tell me.
Jen from BB.
Oh, Gin City?
No.
Oh, wait. Who am I thinking of?
Like,
that's BB 10.
Evil Dick season.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I know.
Like Turkey Burger Jen?
Like cried about the picture on the wall Jen?
Oh, no. Turkey Burger and a unitard Jen. No.
Yep. Heavily speculated that she is on this cast.
Lost a vote because she wanted to eat cottage cheese. Baby, can I just say this? If I'm going to lose my vote over something, it's not turkey burgers and cottage cheese.
And cottage cheese. Hell no. Give me a chocolate cake.
Give me McDonald's. Give me Chick-fil-A. Like,
it also ain't going to be a watermelon in the shower either.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, I could really do without her. Somebody I could do with, another person on my list that I haven't told you yet, Jamie from BB. And hear me out. I don't think she's going to be on the show because she's currently on contract with Shark Tank. But it would be really cool to see somebody like from BB1, like
super
Jamie.
Early. Yeah.
Because she's a huge businesswoman. She has a huge podcast. She's written books. Like she's getting famous people on her podcast now. Like like she's had Oprah on her podcast multiple times. Like I said, she's on Shark Tank. Her and her husband together owned It Cosmetics. They sold it. She's still like working with It Cosmetics. Like it would be a good idea for her. Because of her being on Shark Tank, which is an ABC show, I do not think it's possible that she could do it. But I would like to see her, if we had to pick somebody from season 1, you know who I'm going to say. If it can't be Jamie. Chicken George.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm Facebook friends with Chicken George.
Literally, I almost added him the other day because when I went to go look him up to find a picture of his wife, I was like, oh, he will? You could tell, like, he still has Big Brother on, like, his... I love him. He is a genuinely cool guy. I think it would be cool to see him with like one of his daughters who are obviously adults now. They're like our age.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool, or his wife. So I think Chicken George actually has a solid possibility of, not only do we want to see him, I think he has a solid possibility of getting a call. I actually do.
I will say he's not someone that you can watch out for on socials because he's really not active. Like I've been Facebook friends with him for years and he's maybe posted like 5 times in that span of time. So he's not one that we're going to know until it's announced. But I think that there's a really good chance that he gets a call. He's been a fan favorite since season 1.
Yeah. since he got the name Chicken George. I think somebody else that has a solid shot of getting a phone call is Izzy and Paige, because
Oh, I didn't even think of them, and
I want to see them too. I want to be very
Yes.
clear. Do they have a solid shot? Yes. Would I like to see them? Yes. I didn't tell you that one yet.
100%. Yes.
Because they're in a relationship, and a very solid and strong relationship. I don't know how well traveled they are, but I don't think it matters. We would eat that up. I do fear that they would kick Paige off and maybe try to throw Suri in there and be like, oh, but it's the Izzy Fields thing. But because we don't know if they're going to allow two Big Brother people together, I think Izzy and Paige is who I would actually like to see, and I think that's a
what I would want.
possibility.
100%.
Tucker, I think he's getting a call if he hasn't already. Tucker's getting a call, and who I would like to see him with is going to be either his dad, because he talked a lot about his dad, who came out as gay when he was like a kid, and it was a big deal. I think that would be a really good storyline to continue on with the show, and just talk about like how their relationship is stronger because of it. Or one of his brothers, because apparently him and his brothers are very competitive with each other.
Yep. I think Tucker is a shoo-in. The only way that Tucker is not on this season of Amazing Race is if he is somehow already contracted
with
for
the challenge.
Something. Yeah. That's the only way.
I was actually surprised that he was on Challenge 41, but then I found out that the Challenge 41 was like a returnee thing. Like there's returnees on the Challenge 41. I'm not a challenge person, but
the one that's airing right now?
No. I think the 41 is the one that everybody's getting on the plane right now that everybody's talking about.
But isn't like America or someone, like there's no people, wasn't there?
They're getting on the plane to film now. It's not the one airing, it's the one they're getting ready to film.
But what do you mean there's returners if like America and someone else are apparently on the cast?
You're right.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe Tucker, hey, maybe he is then. What am I thinking? It's getting too late for me.
He wasn't on the rumored cast list.
He hasn't yet.
I don't know how the casting for the challenge works. Like when they like nail all that down, he could have still been on Big Brother when they like solidified some of that or something. Who knows?
Okay, so another person that I would really like to see, I've already told you this one, Brittany D'Angelo. I want to see Brittany D'Angelo specifically with her mother. I think with her dad would be cool too. I watch Brittany's lives all the time on TikTok. Her mom is genuinely a cool person, fun to be around. I follow Brittany on Instagram. Her and her mom travel often together. I think that her and her mom would be a really good fit. Not knocking her and her dad, because if it's her and her dad, I would be cool down for that too. But specifically her and her mom. Then the other people that I would like to see, Eric Stein. I don't know who I want to see him with.
Yes.
Eric
I
Stein.
have him on my list.
Do you? That's awesome.
Justice for Eric Stein, please.
Yes, exactly. Throw him on there. And the other person I have is Cam and one of his dogs in the crib. Only for the bit.
I think that's one I can definitely see, because CBS did lean into the dogs in the crib bit last year. So I could see him leaning into it even more.
Because I know it's a loved one, but that's not been, to my knowledge, specified to like a blood relative or a spouse.
No, well, because I mean, even on just regular seasons of The Amazing Race, it's supposed to be like a pair of loved ones or whatever, unless there's a casting twist, and you see all the time where it's like best friends.
Yeah, they totally always have best friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or coworkers, or yeah.
Right.
And I think that pretty much... Oh, wait, I have one more. Sorry. Angela. I do really want to see Angela. Specifically, I do believe she might get a call. And I think that it would be with either her son, I can't remember his name, or her daughter, Christine. So, who's on your list?
Yeah, I got a couple names to add to the list. Top of my list of people that I think could get a call and that would also say yes, and that I would like to see, is Tiffany Mitchell and her son.
Yes.
I don't know the casting rules, but like they've made, exceptions for casting twists for age before. But her son would be at least approaching 18 if he's not already. I think he might have already turned 18, but I know he's graduating this year or whatever. So like that's a possibility. Or even Tiffany Mitchell with like a coworker, bestie, whatever. In general, Tiffany Mitchell. Then here's someone that I don't care to see on it, but I think is getting a call, is Jag and his brother.
You know what? I had that on my list on my phone. I didn't write it on here. Yeah, Jag's getting a call. You're right.
And he'll say yes because he has to for the plot. What else is he doing besides TikTok live bad.
Love that our reads match. Like, I love that we feel the same about like every Big Brother player. That you're like, yes, justice for Eric. Like, yeah.
Exactly. One that, okay, this one, just because recently they did kind of like have a social media resurgence a little bit, is Vanessa Russo and her wife. I think they'll get a call, but because of like childcare and different things like that, I'm not sure that they can make it happen. But I think that they would get a call and I would love to see them on it. But I don't know. My last one, and the only reason that I put this one on here is because I did find it kind of odd that this person hasn't been on the challenge for the last couple seasons, and that's Casey Clark and her brother. And she's not on this current season. She's not getting ready to go. Like, she's been sitting out of the challenge for the last couple seasons. And so I'm wondering if her contract would end up being up in time to do this. And her brother have a really good relationship. They just recently lost their dad, so there's that storyline as well.
Mhm.
Like, I could kind of see it happening. And I'm really indifferent on Casey. I don't have any strong opinions on her either way. Like, whatever. I don't watch the challenge, so I'm not sick of her or anything. But
Well, it's no secret. I
don't know.
hated Big Brother 20 and 21. Well, I love your list, and I do like your read on Casey. That is one person I did not even remotely consider. Yeah, I think Casey's a solid read. But we really need to talk about the Traitors.
Yeah.
So
yeah, let's jump into it.
Episode 8. Okay, so episode 8, we had up for murder. We had a few people that were going to get potentially murdered in plain sight, and it was like you either saw Alan Cummings or you saw the Traitors. Predicted that it would either be Dolores or Chrishell. I don't remember if I said it on here or on my socials, but I predicted it would either be Dolores or Chrishell moving into this, and I thought Chrishell because Chrishell was unable to be useful for both Faithfuls and Traitors. So what's the use in keeping her around? Like, if she's just going to keep voting for Tom, she's not.
Yeah, not beneficial for anyone. I did kind of think also that because it's face to face, like, they also tried to take just an easy way out, like no bad blood, someone that's not gonna really be like super confrontational, basically. And out of the options that they had, that would definitely be Chrishell. So I think that also probably played a big part in it, to be honest, as well.
And it was awkward.
Yeah.
Well, we know that Tom thinks so. We get to breakfast and we find everyone comes in and they find out that Chrishell has been murdered. And Tom makes this comment about how, well, she wasn't too useful at the round table. She never spoke up or whatever he said, something to that effect. And Brittany immediately starts clapping back. Then he starts clapping back. And then it becomes this like exchange between Brittany, Tom, and Sierra. And Sierra makes a comment like, well, you could say the same thing about Brittany. And Tom's like, no, you couldn't. At least Brittany's been talking at the last few roundtables. Chrishell wasn't saying shit. It doesn't matter if Chrishell was saying shit or not. Like, Tom should have known that this was just his opportunity to just let Chrishell go. Because Brittany's comment back to him was like, that's obviously a personal dig.
Yeah.
It's going to come off that way.
Is true.
Whether he was accurate or not, it doesn't matter. Like, just don't say anything.
Yeah, the Tom and Chrishell beef has been very prevalent all season long.
Yes.
But also, my whole point during that whole exchange was, Sierra, who are you one to talk? The only time you've spoken at roundtables is when you've had to defend yourself. So why are you calling out Brittany? You don't speak up either.
Well, something before that happened, another read that I forgot to mention is the whole when Sam, okay, so whoever it was that came in, Tom is like describing the outfit, okay, that Alan's wearing.
Yep.
And Sam's like, wait, he asked a question about like, when did you see the outfit? Did you ever see him before or not? And he's like, no, I only saw him. Great. So that means whoever comes, if somebody comes in here is unable to describe their outfit, they're a traitor, because in Sam's mind, the traitor would never even attend this murder, whatever. Like, there's no reason to, right? And that's actually a really good read on Sam's part. Now, whether or not Sam's the only one that came up with it, I don't know. But that's actually a really good read. But then we have Carolyn come in, and Carolyn is actually unable to describe Alan's outfit. We don't know whether... I don't know if it was clear on whether was Alan wearing the same outfit that anybody had seen, or did his outfit change? I think his outfit changed completely.
It did. Yeah.
Now, I don't think it was
so-
clear on whether Carolyn actually saw the outfit or not. Even still, I don't know that we're clear on whether she really saw the outfit or not. But either way, she was unable to describe it. She's trying to, and then Tom helps her describe it. And then Sam's like, stop helping her. Like, we just came up with a plan. And then we get this diary room session of Brittany being like, Tom is an idiot.
Yeah, which was weird. And I meant to go back and watch that over again after I heard from the source today that the Carolyn stumbling thing was heavily edited and it looks like she's stumbling over her words so much. But in real life, like what actually happened is that she was constantly being interrupted by Tom to where it was like she would start to say something, he would interrupt her and she would stop. But the edit makes it look like she can't remember when it was really just that she continued to be interrupted by people when she was trying to talk.
I believe that. I saw a creator on TikTok assess the Carolyn edits in general and said that you can see that they're getting a lot of single face shots of Carolyn without more than one. There's nobody else in the edit, in the shot with her on that edit, which leads you to believe that they're just getting still images of Carolyn doing these crazy faces and maybe she's not really doing them. I don't care. I also just really don't like Carolyn, so she gets on my nerves.
Me neither, but it just helped me, like, for things that happened later in the episode, it helped me connect the dots a little bit because I was super lost as to why people weren't looking a little bit harder at her. And now that kind of makes sense if she wasn't truly, like, not able to think about what Alan had been wearing.
No, yeah. Yeah, I agree. But just in general, Tom complaining about Chrishell's roundtable skills was just not a good idea. And he should have known that. Like,
no. Yeah.
Because from my understanding, he single-handedly got, like, everyone canceled from the show. So now he's on this whole PR, like, campaign to, like, improve his public image. So him saying that about Chrishell actually kind of shocked me a little bit because he really hasn't been willing to say anything bad. Chrishell has been saying shit about him, but, like, he has, from the edit we've gotten, not really said anything bad about Chrishell. In fact, you see him being like, hey, Chrishell, like, I know you're the last person I want to talk to. It was giving Chrishell's gone now, so I can, like, breathe.
Speak freely.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as we'll talk about later, Tom puts his foot in his mouth several times this episode. So
yeah, we'll save that for the end. Okay. Oh, let's talk about Alan's get rich or die trying comment. That was golden. I loved that.
I did too, but I just love how camp he is on every single murder.
So at that point, they, like, leave breakfast and we have a few, like, comments just circulating. One of those was Tom saying that he was surprised to be there after he thought that he was going to get murdered. I never for a second, based on the way that they edited that last episode, thought he was going home. I could tell that that was like a jump scare edit. I was not shocked, but he was shocked. And then we have other people bringing up, like, the Brittany thing and the Danielle thing. And then we have people bringing up the coffin theory, which I predicted on my TikTok that was going to come back up because they were, at that point, I didn't see what else the Traitors had to go on. They had used up every single theory they had. I was shook to know that it was Sam that brought it back.
I'm telling you, Sam on this episode really, like, and I think just the way they edited it, like, set him up to have this kind of, like, Sam's like a strategical kind of dude thing, because right at the jump of the episode was the little snippet of him saying that, like, he's not a super, like, extroverted person and he likes to just sit back and observe. Well, he's been observing and he's caught on to a lot. And I'm like, I literally remember, I think it was during this part where because he had just done the thing at breakfast and then he mentions this and I'm like, wow, people, including myself, have severely underestimated Sam as a game player, and it's going to be hard for them to get him out at a round table. They're going to have to murder him and do it quickly because he's going to catch on rather quick.
Yeah, I agree. So we have Sam coming up with that theory about the coffins. Then we also have Sierra and a few others bringing up the whole Danielle and Brittany thing. And Sierra seemed to get, like, Gabby on board with her and a couple others. But that definitely changed when they got to Roundtable. But at that point, they, like, go into their where Alan's describing their game, the part where all of us just stop listening. But I actually paid attention this time. So because this was hilarious because of Tom. Like, I did not have on my 2025 bingo card Tom being the reason the show was entertaining. I didn't. I thought he
Literally.
would just get picked off early. I thought he would just be a recluse. I had no idea that he would be the one to help win a challenge. Whoever was in charge of editing on episode 8, like, they deserve a bonus, because getting those shots of Tom, like, frantically and like his greasy hair, his sweaty pits, like running back and forth between the phone and the doll and the phone and the doll. And then the whole edit with like, Ivor, somebody needs to come over here. And then Ivor grabs the phone and he's just sitting there. And then Alan's like, what are you doing? Like, go back in there. Don't let him bully you. Like, all of these were great edits. So,
and even more like comical things from behind the scenes, right? So Tom was very serious about hitting the notes on all of these songs, to the fact of when they were on their hike to get to the challenge or whatever, he was asking production for lozenges for his throat so that, you know, it could be functioning properly, as well as through the whole hike, he was doing like actual vocal warm-up exercises. That's how serious he was about this. Like, this was his
right now
time
with
to
you.
shine.
I can't with this.
I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious.
Okay, so I did think he was pretty serious about it, because the way he was like sitting crisscross applesauce with the doll, like
Yeah.
I was like, okay, he is very like, because he was repeating back to the doll before we'd ever, like me, I'd listen to it and I'd be like, okay, and then I run over there. So I did not like every other challenge, I didn't fucking understand what was going on. I was like, why is he singing it back? Like, I thought maybe he was supposed to figure out what it said and then repeat it. That's why I was confused.
Too.
I'm so tired with these competitions. Do away with them. They're useless. We don't need them. Okay,
hold on.
so,
one other funny behind the scenes thing. This one is actually about Dolores. So you know how they played paper, rock, scissors to decide like who was going to end up where? Okay, apparently Dolores has never had to play paper, rock, scissors in her life. And so they were doing like 1, 2, 3, shoot, you know? Well, when they said shoot, she put out like finger guns and everyone was like,
what's that?
What is that for? And she was like, shoot, you know? She was thinking that it was like whoever gets the gun out the fastest, like it was the Wild Wild West.
Not my girl Dolores.
I was so dead when I heard that.
So speaking of which, what you're mentioning is that like there was a team of people that had to stay at the castle and a team of people that had to stay or that got to go down to the dolls, which is crazy because it was in the set was in the same spot where we saw Dr. Will last season in that little house. So as soon as we saw the house, I knew that shit was going to pop off. We literally got the bug thing. And I'm like, okay, so we're going to get something gross again. Like, that's 2 weeks in a row. But it wasn't too bad. It was just like the air and the water being sprayed at them. But they had to play the rock, paper, scissors in order to do, they didn't have to, but that's what they chose to do in order to decide. Now, Danielle was very strategic in this. She wanted to make sure that her and Brittany both went down and that Carolyn stayed away because, and that was really smart of her. So it ended up being at the castle, Gabby, Dylan, Dolores, Carolyn, and Sam. And at the dolls, it was Brittany, Danielle, Tom, Ivor, and Sierra. Sierra ends up randomly getting a shield, which was absolutely useless because that's who everyone's going to vote. I mean, and Danielle, you could see her being like, oh my God, like that's the last person I wanted to get a shield, because if she didn't go at the round table, like Danielle wanted to make sure that she was getting murdered because she was on tour. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I was in agreement with Danielle because she was definitely like, I mean, I don't know what happened overnight, if Sierra had a premonition or like the ghost of Rob visited her in her sleep, because she was definitely obsessed with Rob. But all of a sudden she woke up that morning and chose to like go hard as nails against Brittany and Danielle. And so, yeah, when she got the shield, I was just like, hell, we're in for some trouble if we can't get her out at the round table. But, spoiler alert, things worked out in our favor.
Yeah.
So.
And I actually think it works out in Danielle's favor, and I'll get to that in a second. Even though it sucks that she got it and then she goes home, Danielle actually being honest about it, and then Carolyn not believing her. I
Yeah,
think that
she
that's
doesn't
gonna,
do
we'll
it.
get to that when we get to the turret, but I think
Mhm.
that that's gonna actually end up potentially working out in Danielle's favor. So after we get done watching the musical passions of Tom Sandoval, everyone does win the money, which I am so tired. Again, I'm so freaking
It's
tired of the
pointless.
competitions because it's all rigged. They're not really 9 seconds to the end of the game. That's not true. Like, whatever.
No, they had like 30 minutes to complete that challenge, and after Alan says 5 minutes have already passed and they haven't even gotten like a single one yet, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, we're almost out of time." I'm like, "You still have 25 minutes.
You don't
Why
have
are you acting like this?"
the 25 minutes are theoretical because I promise you that.
Exactly.
But
Uh-huh.
after we're done with that, they all go back to the castle, and now we're talking again. And Sierra is heavy on the Brittany and Danielle thing, and I
Uh-huh.
did not get nervous. Why? Because something I think we talked about before, the outfit. I knew
Yeah.
that
I
unless
wasn't nervous for Danielle. I was nervous for Brittany.
yes, I mean I was a little bit nervous for Brittany, but I was pretty confident that if Sam was whatever Sam wanted, all the boys would do, and there were enough
Mhm.
guys that they could vote as a block. So I actually wasn't too concerned. I didn't think that they would give us that huge edit about the girls are back being Danielle and Brittany, and then for
Mhm.
her to just go home the next episode. I thought that it might last an episode or two. But I definitely was very excited to see that Brittany didn't go home. I think that Sierra with the coffin theory, it was just too strong of a theory at the
Mhm.
round table. I don't know how she was going to overcome that. So I knew as soon as they were walking into the round table that Danielle was safe because I saw her outfit was not the outfit that we have yet to see. Something I'm concerned moving forward for the next episode is the fact that we see her wearing that outfit. Now, I went back and rewatched the preview, and I rewatched the original preview again where we saw that outfit. Something I noticed is there's actually nothing that we haven't seen yet. So this is like the last of where I think this is where the preview ends. So I'm giving myself a little bit of hope for Danielle specifically because if that's the case, like, do you think it's possible Brittany goes and not Danielle? I really do. The question is, and we'll get into the turret situation in a second, but the question is, will Brittany go as a traitor or as a faithful? But before we talk about that, I do think it's important we talk about Tom Sandoval and his little comment at the round table. What the fuck?
Man, to have a Freudian slip at that,
Yes.
what? That's the most wild one you could have coming from him specifically. And just, yeah. As soon as he said it, I was just like, you of all people to say that, Tom? Get the hell out of here. And then that's exactly how everyone else reacted, like, on the show. And I was just like, man, you won a lot of points with me, Tom, and now you just lost them all.
Exactly. Like, that's exactly my thoughts. I was literally in my bedroom by myself, and I like sit out like bah ha ha laughing to myself. Like, that was
Yeah.
fucking hilarious. I love that you called it Freudian slip because that was literally what I said. Like, that was what I believe Blue Sky. I was like, oh my God, this is the worst Freudian slip I've ever seen.
Gosh.
So yeah, so that was crazy. We got to the end of it. It ended up being that, like we said, the unanimous vote for Sierra to go. I was not shocked, not one bit. I felt pretty strongly because of the guys versus girls, and because Sam was heavy
Bringing up
on,
the coffin.
yeah, like all the guys were going to vote with Sam at that point. So we see them get to the turret, and immediately my thought is, where's the freaking one? Where is Kate and Parvati? Like, we've been waiting on these girls.
Yeah.
And two, where are we getting a recruit? And then Alan immediately is like, guess what? We're recruiting. I was like, finally. So we get this recruit opportunity. And immediately in my head, I'm like, okay, Danielle has to recruit Brittany for a couple of reasons. Mainly because they're cool, they're buddies, and she needs her to help convince other faithfuls that she is a faithful. Not that she's not doing that already, but it would be better if she knows that Brittany's never going to turn on her. The other reason is because if Danielle wants to win the game, with Dylan and some of the guys now considering agreeing with Sierra's big brother theory, with there has to be a big brother traitor, Danielle has to get out Brittany, right? Like,
to sacrifice Brittany.
you have to sacrifice Brittany. And you saw her say that to Carolyn. Now, I fear that Carolyn is never going to accept a Brittany recruit because of that comment. Because, like, Danielle is saying, like, we have to sacrifice her. Well, you do, but Carolyn doesn't. Nobody's suspecting Carolyn currently. So why doesn't Carolyn just murder someone? And then, like, if I have to sacrifice you, whatever, I sacrifice you. I would also venture to say that Danielle does have the ability to pivot and convince Carolyn of something. Danielle hasn't gotten much of what she wants in this game. Boston Rob and Bob the Drag Queen have ran that turret circle to the point to where, like, other than Jeremy Collins, I don't know who else Brittany or Danielle has gotten what she wanted with.
Oh, and just like at the round table, whenever Sierra did, like, when at the round table, when Sierra mentioned Danielle and Brittany's name, Danielle even said, like, listed off all these people that have been eliminated. And she's like, these are the people that I was closest to. Why would I be eliminating them? And it's like, it was good for her to say that, but the reason that she's had to, it has been because of Boston Rob. And a lot of those times, Carolyn was in agreement with Rob. So it was like good for her. So I think that the way the edit goes, me personally, I think Brittany's getting recruited.
Okay, thank you. So that's what I was getting to, is I was fearful that, you know, it's an uphill battle for Danielle. I agree. But I really think that Brittany gets recruited. I know there's a lot of people that after watching the preview for the next episode disagree and they think it's a murder. I think it's a recruit. I think it's a recruit because of some of the things that you've told me about your super secret source. But even without that, I would have still felt the same way just based on this edit. I feel as though just hearing the way Carolyn has spoken about Brittany and Danielle both in interviews, that I feel a lot of animosity towards both of them, not one or the other. Probably a little bit more towards Danielle, but I feel like there's animosity a little bit towards both. And I think Brittany gets recruited and Brittany and Danielle go to the end. Whether or not a faithful cuts them, I don't know. But I think they go to the finals.
I can't decide what I think happens between the three of them. Carolyn and Brittany are still on very good terms.
I think Carolyn goes at Danielle's hands at the next round table.
I think it's something like that. Yeah. I do 100% know that, like, Carolyn, she's not cool with Danielle, but she's cool with Brittany. Apparently Carolyn has a podcast. Brittany was just on that, and they, like, I don't know if it's aired yet, but, like, Carolyn has had her on her podcast. Like, they're cool and close and talk still constantly. Carolyn ain't reaching out to Danielle. You ain't gonna catch it happening.
And Danielle being so quiet and being so vocal about, hey, there's more. She says to people, she says on her Instagram, she's not really a TikToker. I think she has a TikTok, but she has only posted like one video ever. She's on Instagram doing like videos, and she does a lot of tweeting. Danielle is very specific about, not only is she not going to say anything until the end, she tells you wait until after the tell-all, which makes me think that she intends to like address something there. At first I thought it was addressed, and then when I found out like it hadn't even been filmed yet, I was like, oh, okay, well, she's intending to bring this up and have some kind of confrontation, I think. I think because of the comment about it's us one-on-one, she makes some kind of like, it's going to be us one-on-one. Let's have a one-on-one at a round table, not like another time. I think she's saying that to Carolyn, and I don't know. I think if Brittany gets recruited, Brittany and Danielle are getting out Carolyn. There is no reason for them to leave Carolyn in there. No one will ever suspect Carolyn. If they can get Carolyn out, that might squash a little bit of that gamer theory a little bit for the rest of the faithfuls.
Yeah, I think it will also be extremely shocking to them.
Exactly.
And it's going to just send them into a tailspin. I also, just going back to what you said about Danielle and social media, the way that she's handled social media also, to me, just gives winner vibes.
Winner vibes. Thank you. I agree. Because so like you have people like Brittany, like she did a little edit today. I don't know if you saw her. She does not post very much on TikTok, but Brittany did a TikTok of her like playing piano with the Tom Sandoval thing. Like, Brittany's doing some funny things. She's putting some Instagram videos out there. Danielle is literally talking about fucking Survivor on her Twitter. She is not even talking about the Traitors. Like, I think if I won, I would be cautious about anything I said, because I don't want to risk my check. I know she's old school, and like, I think old school way is like, I am not allowed to speak about this until it happens, right? Because back in BB3, there was no fucking social media at all. So it was, you're not even really supposed to tell your family. Like, you're supposed to keep it on the DL, because if somebody tells so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so and they find out, you don't get your money. I think she's just like old school mentality. I'm not going to talk about this until it comes out too. It's possible.
I also just think that the way that Danielle is like, game speaks for itself. I don't need to necessarily explain myself until you see the way this game plays out. And then all you motherfuckers that are sitting out here talking about how I'm the worst ever and yada, 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 and I'm going to be out like they've been saying all season long, and here she still is, then what do you have to say? Because I just won this whole thing.
So something that frustrates me about that too is game speaks for itself, yes, and I agree wholeheartedly, but I'm frustrated that her gameplay in the beginning wasn't as great as it should have been, because now everyone is just remembering that. And like people that don't know her, they're like dogging her. And then you have people like Boston Rob going on podcasts and being like, her game was terrible, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, why was it terrible? Because you're fucking gone and she's still here. So,
yep, I agree. I'm excited for this next episode.
Very.
Because I think it's the most excited I've been for an episode. Well, I mean, I'm excited every week, but like, really, I can't stop thinking about like, okay, I hope I'm right about how this plays out. And if I am, it's going to be good, you know?
I'm excited. I hope at this point, I do want Danielle to win, because I can't wait for the next 3 years to be backing her up on my comment section, because I know that people are going to come for me, because for whatever reason, people like Carolyn. Carolyn has gotten way too much of an edit for little to no gameplay. It's very frustrating.
I told you a couple weeks ago, the people love Carolyn, and I do not know why.
It's very annoying. Her voice is annoying. I strongly dislike her. I don't get it. She's obnoxious.
And I also, like, truly, I don't see what Carolyn has done that's, like, better than Danielle. They've both made bad game moves.
Carolyn has brought absolutely nothing to the table. Name one game move Carolyn has really even made, realistically, other than, like, you know, make friendships with people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though, but yeah, I think Danielle's got it.
But the way that Danielle is like, okay, so the way that she posed the question, like, okay, so, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to murder? She's like, you want to murder? Oh, really? Like, I was thinking we could recruit. Well, who could we recruit? And she kind of like paints out a picture. Well, we don't want to recruit a guy. We want to recruit a girl. So here's our 3 options. Well, we don't want to do Dolores. Okay, so it's down to Gabby and Brittany. Are there one of those two that you would be, are one of those 2 girls somebody that you would be willing to do? So the way that she was putting that question out there, she was being a gamer. Like, that was a gamer, I don't even know what I'm saying, a gamer
mentality.
Yeah, like a gamer presentation. And I'm not saying like Boston Rob did some gamer presentations too at the round table, but I'm just saying like that was a gamer presentation to like make her think it's her idea. Now, it didn't work and she's pushing back, but Danielle has resorted to begging, and like I do think that like, I don't know. The way that they edited that last little piece, I really think she's going to convince her.
Exactly. I don't know. That's why I think it's a Brittany recruitment and a Carolyn banishment. That's what I think it happens. And that's what I'm hoping for.
Hoping for it. Can't wait for it. Projecting it. Putting it out in the universe. All the things.
Manifesting all week.
Manifesting.
Already happened.
Putting Neptune in the microwave. Whatever I got to do. I'll go get my crystals if I need to.
There we go.
Anyways,
moon water activated.
I'm excited for the next episodes.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But that's all I have to say, unless you have anything else about the Traitors episode.
No, let's wrap her up. Wrapped up so tight that so tight that if I farted, a dog would hear it.
Oh my god, I didn't even know where you were going with that. Stop it. Okay, on that note, that's all we have to say about the Traitors episode 8. I hope you enjoyed listening in. We're very excited, as you can tell, for episode 9, and we will be right back here next week with another episode for you. So definitely come back. Stay tuned. We love you. Have a wonderful, what is it, Monday when you're watching this, Tuesday? Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Deuces.
Bye.